Hey everyone, Jim Gonzalez here, EDI Support LLC. It's another wonderful Wednesday. It's actually sunny out, but it's cold here in Pennsylvania, which is a little strange for it being April, but the weather does strange things. So I love what we're going to be talking about today because I talk about this subject a lot, almost every day, if not, I know it's every week, with some different company, entity, vendor, any of those type of things that are dealing in the EDI space. EDI costs go up, service goes down. What's going on? So when we're thinking about these different things and we're looking at the companies that are in that space, dealing inside of the service arena or the platform arena, the problem is there's rising costs and declining in service. What is happening? Basically, if we look at some of the larger players that are offering quote unquote managed services, they're raising their prices when it comes to EDI costs, but they're actually reducing their staff, which is making more and more people have to wait on support issues, project management, implementation, all of those things, which isn't fair because a lot of times on average, these companies are paying anywhere from $500 to $2,000, $3,000 a month and up. If you think about it from a cost perspective in your business, it's probably one of the higher cost things that you pay for when it relates to software providers for providing a service. So many providers are increasing their transaction fees, van charges, and support costs without improving the performance. And that means that they're basically giving you less for what you're paying for. Less responsiveness, the support is getting worse. So it's unhelpful canned responses, and they're telling you to go to a portal instead of being able to contact them. All those things, and the wait times have just become ridiculous. Some of them actually send you a candid response that tells you, hey, guess what? We've seen your issue and we'll get back to you hopefully in the next 24 to 48 hours. Hopefully in the next 24 to 48 hours. All of this needs to change. You know, there's more restrictions, less flexibility. The providers are forcing business into rigid workflows and making it costly or impossible to adapt to changing needs. So the off-the-shelf method that everybody should be able to utilize, you know, integrations into NetSuite, Acumatica, all the different providers that are out there, or ERPs that are out there, WMS and TMS systems, it's not working. I always tell people, I don't care if you sell the exact same product as another business, your process is different. There's some tweaks that need to be made, and these candid off-the-shelf pre-built systems just don't work. People argue with me all the time about it, but if you really think of it from a business sense, how much of your process is exactly the same as every other business? Not all of it. They're also getting pushy with sales tactics. The sales teams are pushing both sides, trading partners and vendors, to sign up with them and pay more if you choose to go with some other provider. So there's their testing tactics, you know, and a lot of people don't understand that, hey, listen, just because I signed up with this retailer and they're telling me they utilize somebody, that I don't have to have an account with that somebody. Do your research. Just because a salesperson is telling you, oh, you have to use us, that's not necessarily true, and that's not a good way of doing business. You know, and the crazy part is these companies know who they are. They know that they're doing unscrupulous sales by doing that. There's people that are running into downtime and reliability issues. More businesses are experiencing missed transactions, slow processing times, and system outages, which are impacting supply chains and trading partner relationships. The big question and the big things that people are talking about is the tariffs and the things that are going on with the United States and so on and so forth. Well, it's all affecting the supply chain. So the slower your supply chain is and the slower your EDI provider is in answering and doing project implementations and all of those things, all it's going to do is have more adverse problems for your business. And when people say to me, hey, when's the right time to move away from them? My answer is now, as soon as possible. Why didn't you move yesterday? Because that's not a partnership and that's not people that have your back. So stop looking at those things as, I'll deal with it later. When we look at the why is this happening, there's a lot of mergers and acquisitions. Many EDI providers have been bought out by larger corporations, leading to cost-cutting measures and a shift from customer service to profit maximization. These companies are wanting to go public if they're not already public. And if they are public, look at who backs them. Typically, when it's a venture capitalist or a funding firm or any of those type of things, they're looking at the profit and the dollar amount. They need to see increases for their investors. So think about that. I'm not trying to gloat, but I'm the sole owner of EDI Support LLC. And the running joke that I always have is the only person I need to answer to is my wife. Outside of that, we're doing full focus customer service at my company. We're focused on the customer. We're focused on those things. Yes. Do I need profit to be able to expand? Yes. To help more companies? Yes. Am I going to put customer service at risk for the profit? No. As long as I own EDI Support LLC outright and it is my company, nobody else will run that differently than what I run it. If I pass away and it goes to my family, all of my daughters and my wife know they have to run it the way that I have it. My brother is a part of the company. He knows how I run it. Everybody in the organization knows customers come first. Bottom line, because customers are what keep you in business. These other companies that think that they're too large and that they'll never get taken down, that day is coming. There is something that's going to be coming to the marketplace in June. Let's just leave it at that. So that's a precursor and a warning that I'm putting out there. So there's lack of competition, fewer independent providers. Businesses have fewer choices and are often stuck with providers that no longer prioritize customer needs. They're not agile. They're built off an aging technology and infrastructure. Some providers are operating on outdated systems, but rather than investing in better technology, they pass higher costs onto their customers. That's an issue. If you're on a technology and you're utilizing something that is not flexible to customize for your business process, that's an issue. If they're running on old existing servers and they're not on something that's, essentially what I consider the best of class, cloud-based, whether that's AWS, Azure, Google, and the list goes on, but those are three major players in that space and have the disaster recovery and all of those things in place, that's an issue. Ask them the questions. Understand what's going on. They're in a revenue-driven support models. Many providers now charge extra for support that was once included, making even small requests expensive. How many of your providers have moved to just being able to contact them through a portal? No longer email, no longer phone calls, just a portal. Why can't you have email, phone call, and a portal? What's stopping that? All those things should be in place, especially if you're utilizing a managed provider. Managed provider. Not a managed platform, a managed provider. Somebody that is taking and giving you a platform and giving you their technical expertise to get the job done and working with your team so that you don't need EDI people on staff. So you don't need an API person on staff. It's that full service EDI provider. So when you're looking at these things and you're thinking about it, how does it have an impact on the businesses? Operational disruptions and compliance risks, increased costs of maintaining inefficient EDI processes, and how bad service affects relationships with your trading partners. Think about those things. Think about all of those different impacts and the different areas that are impacted as you wait for them to get back to you, or as you spend more money on them and their services. I truly believe in, why not have something that has a lower cost and a higher service? Lower cost, higher service. Wow, what would happen in a world if that really went around with EDI and API integrations? What would you do? We've become so used to the status quo, or companies, a lot of companies, of the status quo of what they think is out there, and we're just gonna stick with it because that's what everybody else does. Again, there's something coming in June that's going to be very interesting. What businesses should watch out for with their EDI providers? If your EDI costs are rising while service is declining, here are some key red flags to watch out for. And these are things that you have to keep your eye open to, and you have to watch out for these things. Unexpected fees and rate hikes. It's where there's sudden increases in transaction fees, van charges, or support costs. The hidden fees for things like maps, document types, or trading partner changes. Oh, your trading partner changed? Well, we got to charge you for that. Why? This is already a relationship that's established. You're just changing that. Review the invoices carefully and ask for a detailed breakdown. Just don't look at an invoice and pay it. Who does that? You don't do that in your personal life. Why would you do that in your business life? Slow or unresponsive customer support. The long response times or generic answers that don't solve the issue. They just keep kicking the can down the road. Support tickets taking days or weeks to resolve, or months. I've seen months. If you're constantly chasing support, it's time to evaluate alternatives that offer real human support, real email responses, not candid responses, not, oh, go read it off the FAQ. None of that. Somebody that's there to help, somebody that's there to give you advice. There's also issues with forced migrations and platform changes. As we were talking about that merger and acquisitions, those people that are used to working on a system, and then all of a sudden that company gets bought and consumed into another company, and all of a sudden 6 months later, when you were promised that there would be no changes, you're moved to a different platform that you have to learn all over again. So it's being pushed into a system upgrade with no real benefit. Loss of customizations or features during a migration. Get the clarity on what's changing and why you don't accept migrations that disrupt your businesses. Understand that. You're paying them. You're their customer. This isn't a dictatorship. They should earn your business. You shouldn't be in forced long contracts, 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10-year contracts. How do you know what your business is going to be like in a year or 2 or 5 or 10? There's poor system reliability and uptime issues. What does that cause? There's frequent outages or performance slowdowns. So you're hitting peak periods. If you're in a retail space and you're hitting peak periods, whether that's summer months or winter months or whatever it is, and all of a sudden everything slows down, that's an issue. Because there's delays in sending and receiving transactions that impact your supply chain. Again, it goes back to, yes, in the United States, we see all these tariffs that are being enabled and all these things that are going on. It's gonna hit the supply chain. It's gonna slow things down. So now you really need to look at your profit and look at what you're paying for things. You got to ask, what's their service level agreement, or also known as the SLA, and the uptime guarantees? What do they look like? If you're utilizing an organization that has their own servers, they should be able to tell you what's the redundancy. If they're leveraging AWS, Azure, Google, or one of the others that are out there, they're going to rely on their uptime. Again, where should you stay focused as a business? If I'm an EDI API company, and this is what we do, are we also a server company? We have servers, but are we a server company? Do we want all of that? Or do we want to leverage somebody that's pre-built out, that's already gone through all the bumps and all the hurdles, figured this whole thing out, and now we're paying them a fee because they figured it all out and they got it running smoothly. It's the same space in EDI and API. Working with companies that figured it out and know how to do it and do it on a consistent basis and keep things running smoothly so that you're not having to do it. So look at that. So what we suggest, start doing now, audit your current EDI costs and performance. Get ahead of this. Start looking at it. Be proactive, not reactive. Ask your provider the hard questions. If they can't justify their pricing, reconsider your options. Ask others. Reach out. Look at Reddit. Look at the Discord server that we have. Go all over the place and ask. I might be the person that responds to you. Who knows? But mine is just a piece of information of constant conversations that I have with other organizations and other companies that are out there, from very small to extremely large. I'm talking to all of them. I'm here, my team's here, we're here to help you. In June, we'll be here to help you even greater. It's another thing that we're going to have in our toolbox. I love being able to bring people options of which way things will work for them, not us telling them what they have to do. If you have questions, this is Jim Gonzalez, EDI Support LLC. Like our stuff, follow us, click the little bell for notifications. We're on YouTube, we're on LinkedIn, we have a Discord server, we're on Reddit. We're everywhere and anywhere, or you can reach out directly through our website, ask questions, hit us up, tell us what you'd like to hear and what you'd like to talk about. I'm here to help with that. I don't know everything. I don't admit to saying I know everything about EDI and API, but I'm here to help. I'm here to give you a little bit of insight. I hope you have a great rest of your week, great rest of your Wednesday. Take care, stay warm, and I will see you all later. Bye-bye.